take a look at you. Sup? Hey, we never figure out who's hosting. Drew, you want to take host this time?
I don't care.
Either way. All right. Let's just run it then.
Okay.
Let's kick it off. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, that was way too close to my face. Welcome back to Garbage Time. We have almost a full house today. Chris will be joining us later, but I'm James. I'm joined today by Drew and Zach. How we doing, guys?
Good. What's up, James?
Drinking a smoothie, wearing a jersey that James doesn't have. You know, the usual.
Yeah, fuck me, apparently.
I mean, I kind of wish.
Out.
All right, so let's get into some brief.
Listen, if you can't make up with the boys,
excuse me, I'm talking. Sir.
Yeah, I don't care.
Sir. Let's get into some brief news we kind of touched on during BOTA show. That's the show. Washington released Alex Smith after his comeback player of the year season. Justin Simmons gets a franchise tag, 27, 5 interceptions. Great move by them, in my opinion. But Drew, I want to hear what you think about the Alex Smith cut release, because that was a mutual parting of ways.
Yeah, I think that Washington is better off trying to find a quarterback for the future. I think Alex Smith is better off going to a team that's going to appreciate him for now, and be able to protect him a little bit better than Washington was able to. I mean, he got hurt again after coming back. I mean, he needs to go and find someone there with a rock solid offensive line that's, decent quarterback play away from being semi-contender-ish.
Mm-hmm. I could agree. I mean, I said this during the show. Oh, sorry, Zach, go ahead.
No, it's all right. I was going to say, yeah, totally agree. Packers should sign him. Terrible quarterback play.
Oh.
It wasn't MVP quarterback play or anything.
Yeah.
Anyway, Jesus, cut the tension on this one. I said that I think he's just got to accept the fact that he is in a developmental role. Like, he's going to be the guy who trains the next guy. For like the next
kind of in a Ryan Fitzpatrick-y stage of his career, I feel like.
That's what I said.
Yeah, I think he's just kind of going to have to accept that. He'll get a couple more games of playing time, but he's not going to find a starting job somewhere, I don't think.
No, I mean, I highly doubt that. Maybe for the beginning of the year, but long term, no, I don't see it.
No, 2 years from now, he's going to be retired. So.
Yeah, but he had his big moment, which we're all happy for.
And just coming back at all is beyond impressive. So, good for him. If he can find somewhere else that he can mentor a young guy and make a transition easier for someone, then that's great. If not, he had a great career. He did some awesome stuff, and you get to have a happy life with his family. So it's all good.
So let's talk about a couple other releases that happened today. LaMarcus Joyner gets cut by the Raiders. Mm-hmm. Not going to say I'm necessarily shocked about that.
I didn't hear about that.
Yeah. I mean, he was fine deep, but they need someone who's going to be able to fully cover the entire last third of the field, which we'll get to today. But that's not him. And then Carlos Dunlap gets cut by the Seahawks, but is likely to resign because that's just a cap. I don't know how that actually works.
Well, I think if they cut you, your contract null and void, and then when you resign, it's like a clean slate. I guess that's my guess. But sorry, I'm eating a sandwich. I don't want that.
No, you're good. It was just some interesting background noise there. I was wondering what the song was.
I don't have a break room. So
I know, dude. I don't care. I'm not giving you shit. I'm glad you're here.
No, I'm explaining to the fans.
No, they don't give a fuck. They hate you.
Yeah,
so we're going over 4 teams today, our next 4 before free agency opens, I think, next week.
17th, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We're getting real close. So not fully next week, but I think we're 2 weeks out.
9 days.
Okay, so yeah, just over 2. Just over 1 week away.
My birthday. Yay.
Drew's birthday. Yep.
Free agency is your birthday?
Yep.
Yeah, dude.
Oh my god.
And St. Patrick's Day.
Oh,
It's
and
just
St.
a
Patrick's Day,
wealth
you know,
of
also.
days.
Damn, I gotta get some mixed priorities there, man. I have to straighten down one thing.
All kinds of stuff going on.
So today we're gonna be going over Washington, Miami, Las Vegas, and Arizona. The hot team of the minute with JJ Watt.
The Arizona Texans.
The Arizona Texans. But let's start with Washington. They are the last playoff team we had. Right now, they are sitting with the 19th overall pick and $54 million in cap. They are in a perfect position to step forward into the future, especially with a weak NFC East division.
Absolutely. I mean, barring the Cowboys and Dak Prescott coming back, that they still have major holes to fill. The Eagles just transitioning to Jalen Hurts at quarterback, and the Giants are the Giants. So there's that. But yeah, no, you're absolutely right. They got the cap room. They got a decent pick right in the middle of the round. I think if they play it well, then they'll definitely be stepping forward into being a contender a lot sooner than may otherwise have been possible.
Zach, we have a question in the comments for you. Did you turn off your camera because you look like the guy from The Hangover?
I'm not going to confirm or deny that, but my first name is in fact Zack, and
it lines up. Zach and Zach.
Yeah.
Zach Galifianakis.
Yeah. So I mean, listen.
I'm listening.
You tell me.
Dude, we need the big beard back. That would be the killer.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I know I missed the big beard.
R.I.P.
Dude, R.I.P. to like whatever the hell's going on up here.
Wow. You got some locks, dude. You got some lettuce.
Yeah, it's
like
yeah.
It's like old lettuce.
Yeah, no, it's like a fur
Wilted
carpet that's
lettuce.
been used way too many times.
Yeah, it's like when you find a bag of romaine in like the back of your fridge.
Oh, dude, no. Oh god, what?
Yeah,
Ew.
it's got that weird like I don't want to touch it moisture.
It's like spring mixed except it's winter.
Spring mix from last year. So
yeah.
Looking at what Washington needs more than anything, I think the biggest key point would be quarterback, right? I mean, they've plug and played a lot of guys, but quarterback has to be fixed. That has to be, they have to get their guy.
Yeah, I agree.
After that, I'm looking at a true big time wide receiver one because I love Scary Terry. Zack currently leading in the polls, no big deal, but they need another guy. They need a true like vertical guy.
James, you're not leading in the polls. You are wiping the floor with my sorry ass. There's a big difference there, all right? Get it right. Get your
and last but not least, we're trying to keep it as minimal as possible, get like the big three, but middle linebacker would be the last thing I think they could really use, which a lot of teams can use, a lot of aging middle linebackers out there. But notable free agents coming out of this, Alex Smith, cut, mutual parting of ways we just talked about. Brandon Sheriff, I believe, is like, I don't think they are re-signing him. I'm not really sure where they stand. I haven't heard much on that front.
No, they've been very quiet.
Yeah. And then on the edge, Ryan Kerrigan, too.
Yeah, I mean, another player that's getting up there. Not really worth re-signing him if which it seems they are committed to kind of moving forward and rebuilding with the youth. Chase Young is a huge piece in that equation, and again, where they stand right now. So I think it makes sense. I think flushing a lot of that aging talent out, I probably could have got something for him if they tried to trade him at some point. But
yeah, and it's gonna be weird too because I can't think of any time he hasn't been in a, like, when I think of Ryan Kerrigan, I think of like burgundy and gold.
Yeah, absolutely. It's gonna be bizarre. I don't know where he could end up.
I honestly don't either.
It's
gonna be real weird.
It's a tough position to be in, being an aging edge rusher
with all these like athletic beasts coming out of the draft the past few years. It's like, all right.
Exactly. So I don't know if or where he's going to find a role, but great career in Washington. So good for him. I hope he ends up doing what's best for him. But yeah, it leaves just an extra hole to be filled. They need someone opposite Chase Young. They need someone kind of quarterbacking that defense from behind.
They also need just a quarterback.
They also need a quarterback for their offense. So yes, they're going to have to use their assets wisely this time around, especially being in the position where they're in the playoffs last year and just trying to build on that moving forward without a quarterback. Like that's kind of a weird position to be in.
So there's a lot of big question marks that are tied to their quarterback position. I think the first should be something we should talk about after the playoffs or after that big playoff performance. But is Taylor Heineke, could he be the guy that they've been looking for? And we're just like underselling it?
I mean, I don't think it hurts to let him play through some preseason games and, be in that quarterback competition discussion. But he can't be the only guy that they're relying on. They're going to have to either draft somebody, which if you're doing it that way, you don't really want to spend a high draft pick on someone.
No.
That may not end up on your roster come opening day, So I don't know. Maybe they go out and get a free agent, let them compete for a while, that whoever they get in Heineke. And then whoever wins that's the quarterback of the year. And if it goes well, then you roll with it. And if not, then you have to think about drafting somebody or finding a different course of action. But I think you got a year of play if you want to play it that way. That's fine.
So the other point about that is, like you said, free agency, but we haven't really talked about Washington being a potential landing spot for Deshaun Watson. The hard thing is the young defensive piece. That's the thing that I'm caught on with them. I think you and I both went back and forth on this a while ago.
Yeah, and I don't necessarily know that that's the route that they're going to go. I don't think that you necessarily want to sell the farm for Deshaun Watson. They're in the same boat as a lot of other teams. They, like I said, like we've said, they still have other pieces that they need to bring in first.
Right.
The back will help a lot, but they've lost a lot of that defense that was so good last year.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't see that being the right way to go for them.
Yeah, I don't think I can sell myself on it. I don't think they should really be trading for anyone. I would say, like you said, run with Heineke, see if you can make it work, and then draft someone maybe late. Don't spend high capital.
Yeah.
Focus on bolstering the defense.
Exactly. I think that needs to be the focus. I mean, the defense was the shining spot of that team last year. That was what they made it to the playoffs on. So keep building around that. Keep doing what you're doing there. Keep the offense serviceable for now. And then make your major offensive repairs once you're sure your defense is going to be a top unit.
I forget what I was going to say.
Words, probably.
Yeah, I mean, editing's great. So where they're sitting right now, 19th overall, right? They're kind of in a position. Everyone has mock drafts floating around. Tis the season.
Mm-hmm.
Trey Lance is sitting right there as a potential person they could be picking up because he's falling in drafts. I despise that. I am not a big Trey Lance guy.
And I think that just kind of falls back into high draft capital investment. So I don't like that. I think that they should go with probably a linebacker or something to give a little extra pop to that defense first. And then, like you said, try and grab a quarterback later in the draft or wait until next year. Whatever is easier.
I could also very easily see them start to kind of cut you off in the end there, Drew, but very easily see them trading that pick. If like the position's not there, they don't see somebody they want. They've done a great job drafting late too. Like they've hit in the first round, but later rounds are still getting good picks lately.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that drafting's been a strength of theirs. I think that they could definitely get some good return on trading that 19th overall pick, moving back maybe even out of the first round, depending on what they see on the board at that point and if it fits, the build that they're looking for.
Right.
But yeah, where everything's kind of lining up, that may be a very real possibility. And I think that would be a huge candidate for, someone else to move up and snag the quarterback if they were looking for,
they were looking for a first round bust. Zach, what do you think down there? Smoothie's complete.
Smoothie is done. You are absolutely correct. It is done. Well, I was just taking a look at their draft history, and they've had some really good hits in the first 2-3 rounds. I mean, just look at last year. Obviously, Chase Young, that was a guaranteed. I mean, that was almost a guaranteed hit. But third round pick Antonio Gibson. I mean, look how well he's done in that system. And even going back to last year, obviously, Dwayne Haskins. 2 years ago, Dwayne Haskins terrible. But Montez Sweat, not bad. He's a good defensive end, and obviously, Scary Terry in the third round. So I mean, you have some, like you said, some good mid round picks.
Right.
I mean, I just don't know if I mean, obviously, if I was them, I wouldn't draft a quarterback at 19, because at that point, like with the mock drafts that are all over the place, you have like some mock drafts with all 4 of those quarterbacks going in the top 10, which is asinine. And then other drafts, you have Mac Jones falling to the second round, which it's there's no consistency between all of them. And so I don't really see Washington going for a quarterback, and I feel like if they do, they're just gonna fall into the same rut they have in the past 10 years.
Fair. So
I don't know, break the mold.
I don't disagree. I don't think either of us do. So let's talk about another big need for them. Although Scary Terry is awesome, wide receiver, like a true wide receiver one, like a very, very strong vertical threat, is like something they're kind of lacking, because Terry can stretch the field, but getting someone
like
with that cap
like
space,
a big-bodied wide receiver that has really good speed, really good with the 50,
good
50
hands
ball,
that doesn't drop stuff. Right.
Yeah, fuck you.
I don't see where they are getting anyone that they wouldn't be reaching for in the draft. That could be where trading back moves up or comes into play.
Mm-hmm.
I could see them going after one of these names like a Robinson or a Galladay. Personally,
I could see Kenny Galladay going to the football team.
To the team.
Yeah, to the football team. I know. It's tough.
I could see it. I'd like that fit a lot. Kenny Galladay, Scary Terry, Logan Thomas, Antonio Gibson. Threats.
That puts that offense over the next tier line, I think. I think that really just brings out everyone else, that compliment of having Galladay's body on the field straight up, if he can stay on the field, which I hope God would be the case.
Yeah.
But that gives you a very good offense to have a quarterback competition in, but it's going to be an offense that's going to be competent no matter who you really put in there. And it's going to be able to be carried by that defense pretty easily. So,
I don't know. I haven't even heard the points. I'm going to have to chop the shit out of this. Last team need for them is going to be the middle linebacker, the interior linebacker, the quarterback, and the defense. I think that one piece might put that. I mean, they're already a top tier defense. That, like Drew said, that's what pushed them into the playoffs. That is what dragged their offense and carried their offense when it was nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Although they had a good middle linebacker rookie, Kaliki Hudson, I don't expect him to be much of anything else. I mean, it's banking off of his limited potential. He was good in the run, but pass coverage was meh. There's potential. I've seen this with a lot of mock drafts that Micah Parsons ends up falling to this 19 spot. I don't see him falling past the Patriots, but if that happens, get him, fucking lock up that Washington defense, because Sweat, Young, and Micah Parsons would make the scariest pass rush, scariest pass coverage, scariest attack on defense I've ever seen in my life.
That would be a terrifying core for a defensive unit, for sure.
Terrifying core that you're going to have locked up for at least 4 years.
Yeah.
Oh, 3 years. But there are options in free agency. So let's talk about that, because, like I said, I don't see him falling past the Patriots. Matt Milano's a name we've talked about. Levante David and Denzel Perriman's another name that's been floated around too. But out of those 3, which one do you guys think like really locks up and kind of works with that younger Washington core well?
I think Levante David would be ideal. He's probably one that would be hardest to get, just because we don't even know if he plans on leaving Tampa.
Right.
But I think that he would definitely be the one to gel with a young core of guys. I think he would absolutely lock that defense right down. Matt Milano would be good as well. Still Browns, James, but I think that would either one would work, but Levante David would be the ideal fit.
Yeah, I agree.
Next up. Oh, I got nothing. What's up?
I was gonna say, do you want me to expand on that too, or just...
Yeah, go for it, dude. I mean, you agreed. Screw it.
Well, I was gonna say, yeah. I mean, like on Drew's point, like I feel like Levante David's just a player that younger players will gravitate towards, and I think that'll really gel the unit together pretty well. I mean, especially after coming off of a Super Bowl win.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of that swagger carries over, and it really pans out when you're trying to, put a unit together. He goes into Washington and he can say, listen, our defense just shut down Patrick Mahomes, 9 points allowed in the Super Bowl. I know what I'm doing. Listen to me. We can do this. Like, we have the pieces. Let's do it. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like he can go in there and do that. Not that Matt Milano's not talented, and I honestly don't even know who the other guy is, but yeah, I don't know. Go ahead.
No, I mean, it's fair. I mean, the best experience is playoff experience, right? Like, you've been there, you've done that. And he has been there and stopped the best.
And I feel like it would be a very smart move for Ron Rivera to, to have a guy like that come in. And, I feel like you have a team that relies too much on coaching. It's not a good team. But if you have a player in there that can be, like you said, a quarterback on the field, like a defensive quarterback, or even like, if he's coaching up the younger players, like that effect ripples through the entire team. I mean, just look at what, other players like of that status have done. Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, I'm sure too. Name quarterbacks, but you can also talk about like other key defensive players. Like, what would the Patriots defense be without Stephon Gilmore? If they don't trade for him and all the other defensive pieces that are there, Devin McCourty, stuff like that. So
I just realized we completely forgot to talk about those trade rumors at the beginning, so we're just gonna use those at the end, Drew.
Sounds good.
What trade rumors?
I had the Stephon Gilmore and David Njoku trade rumors listed in the news, and I was like, "Oh, let's talk about that," and just
blew I was right like, did I just say something completely off base?
No, you said Stephon Gilmore, and I was like, "Motherfucker."
Yeah.
All right. Well, since we're talking about the AFC East and how bad I am at my job, Miami is our next up in line. They missed the playoffs, just on the edge, cut out. They are sitting with the 3rd and 18th overall pick in the first round. They have $22 million in cap. They're another team that is in position to be able to take that next step very easily because they have the cap to get free agents. They have the capital if they want to trade, and they have the ability to draft studs in the first round.
They do. That's true. And, they have their coach now.
They do.
They do. Brian, very, Flores, I mean, honestly, surprised that it came from, Belichick tree, but I mean, it's going to work. And here's my thought on this is like, well, it's weird. He's going from linebackers coach to defensive coordinator for 1 year because he really wasn't even the defensive coordinator. He was calling the defense as linebackers coach, and then moves on to Miami and has a really good season with them. It's almost like he didn't get too close to Belichick for Belichick to kind of screw everything up for him, like how it did with Bill O'Brien and Josh McDaniels and Matt Patricia, and I can go on, of course. But
right, just keep listing.
You just keep listing. Romeo Crennel, I'm sure, if he was ever a head coach, wouldn't be good, but he's a good defense coordinator.
He finished the years, didn't he?
He finished the year as head coach, but I mean, you can't count that as on his record. You really can't. I mean, it's not his team. But I mean, I like what Brian Flores has done with the team. I mean, they're a competitive unit. I mean, they gave Kansas City a run for their money in a regular season game last year, and they had some big time wins. And then Ryan Fitzpatrick threw that weird like face mask ball too. That was crazy. But I mean, with that number 3 overall pick, they can do a lot. There's a lot they could do with that pick.
They could do a lot with it, but I almost certainly think they have it locked with what they're going to do.
Okay.
Which we'll talk about. But let's get to this first.
But
The two biggest question marks for their needs, right? I have quarterback listed because we don't know what Tua is yet. Tua was
okay, that's fair.
fine, but he had the safety net of Ryan Fitzpatrick, who this offseason is now a free agent, potentially retiring. More likely than not, retiring. So he doesn't have that safety net anymore. This is going to be Tua's first full year as the guy. So we'll talk about that in a second, get into how confident we are with Tua. The other question mark is the edge. They could use another edge rusher, but Emmanuel Ogbah has done a good job. And I think his contract is up in 2022. He had a good year last year, but he needs to repeat that. And that's always kind of been the mark against him is his inconsistency. And that's why he's been moved around, I think, 3 times now. But this will be his 3rd team. So
yeah,
notable free agent departures: Matt Breida, Fitzmagic, Ted Karrath. We don't know what's going to go on with those 3. They're still in the air.
Who? Ted Karras?
Karras? Is that how you say it?
Yeah, Karras. Teddy Karras. Yeah.
Butchered. Let's get into. Speaking of, let's get into Tua. Is he the long-term guy?
Zach. Can I just? I have to go, so I'm just gonna leave you guys with an absolute just a fire take. Look at what happened with Lamar in Baltimore when Flacco and him were basically kind of going every other game. What did Lamar do next season?
Yeah, you think that's the salute? What?
I am calling it right now. If this happens like Lamar in Baltimore, Tua MVP next year.
What a big statement to go out on.
Yeah.
I'm going to write that down.
Well, I think, I don't know what you personally think they're going to go for at number 3. I mean, I could see them going for Jamar Chase and getting another big name wide receiver and, pairing him up with Devontae Parker.
Jamar Chase is who I have locked at the 3.
You do? Okay, that's funny. Well, they could easily give Buffalo a run for their money, especially with would this be a third year or second year with Brian Flores? I think it's third, right?
Third. This would be year 3 because he had the bad year. He had the almost playoff year last year, and then.
Well, yeah. So I mean, this year is really the second full season under Brian Flores' system. I mean, the first year is always, a wash, but.
Right.
Excuse me. Second year under Flores, the defense played very well last year. The offense had its ups and downs, of course. I think they're gonna most likely sign a decent free agent running back, if not maybe Aaron Jones. So you're gonna see a lot of big name pieces coming to Miami, and I think Tua's gonna benefit. I really think Tua's gonna have a really good year next year. MVP season.
Wow. All right. I'm gonna clip that and I'm gonna lock it in, Zach.
I don't like it. I don't like saying that, but I mean, I just seeing where free agents are about to end up, and they have the number 3 overall pick. Plus, they have another first round pick. What, like 19 or 18 or something?
18. Yeah.
18. So they get another piece on the offensive line, then it just secures that offense even more. So I don't know. My thoughts.
All right. Well, that was Zach. Thank you.
Peace out, guys.
See you later, baby boy. Is he leaving? Jesus, finally. Drew, let's get your thoughts on this Tua situation.
So I am definitely not as optimistic as Zach. That's for sure.
I don't think anyone's as optimistic as Zach on that case.
Some hefty expectations.
Woo!
I don't think Tua is the same quarterback as Lamar. I don't think that he has the tools that Lamar has, especially with the hip injury and everything. He's gonna be a primarily pocket passing quarterback, which is gonna hurt him in the long run because his mobility was a huge asset for him. That being limited in any capacity is detrimental.
Right. So
I don't see Tua as being anything more than maybe slightly above average as a starting quarterback in the league. I don't see him being the guy in Miami. I think that they'll move on from him, if not this year, next year. But he'll find a spot. He'll find someone.
He'll find a home.
Yeah, he will. But it's I don't have high hopes at this point. I hope he proves me wrong. I've always liked him through college, but I just don't see it. His mechanics are decent. His decision making is decent. Everything's just kind of decent right now. So
Yeah.
He'd have to take a big step forward in a lot of different areas to.
He needs a massive year too.
Yes, exactly. He would need to come out with a serious showing to change my mind.
We'll see though. I have this in our notes, but I think bringing in some competition could be a good thing because even like you said, even if it doesn't pan out, or if he does pan out, cool, then you have a good backup, right? But if it doesn't pan out, you now have your guy sitting right there, right? Or potentially just the carryover guy, just the next guy to carry over to the next quarterback until you actually find your guy.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it's tough to say where they would go with that. I could see them bringing in a ton of people. I don't see them going early with it, though. I think they go with one of the late round quarterbacks who's just kind of sitting there, 6th, maybe 7th round. But let's get into the weapons because I said that I think Jamar Chase is a lock at the 3. But what do you think they're going to do? Because Sewell might be there too.
Yeah. So, I mean, you can't really go wrong either way.
No.
I think you have to tease the idea of Devontae Smith and Tua getting back together.
True.
You have to at least think about it. I don't think it would be enough to bring him there with that pick. Number 3, I feel like is a little high. I think Jamar Chase is a little more NFL ready right now. So I think that whichever way they want to go, weapons wise or protection wise, they can't go wrong with Chase or Sewell if they're there. But yeah, so I think it would be hard for them to mess the number 3 pick up.
Yeah, this is a good draft to have a top 5 pick.
Yes, I think where it's really going to come down to it is the number 18 pick. What do they do in the middle of the first round? Where do they decide that their next biggest need is?
We have a comment in the YouTube chat right now, and it says, "I want what Zack is smoking." Dude,
I don't know, man. Oh man,
Tua for MVP is the wildest take, but
that's the boldest take we've had in a long time.
I'm gonna mark that one because like after the Derrick Henry thing this year, that could be an awful take. He could be throwing like shit ton of interceptions. We'll see. Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
So other than quarterback, other than wide receiver, because we think they need to get a big like wide receiver one, right? Devontae Parker's good, but he's not great. He's been So getting someone, I mean, okay, that's a whole nother debate. But I think Jamar Chase would be the best pick at 3, getting him another weapon, at least proving we're working on you. We're invested in you.
Yeah.
Show us what you got. Live up to the hype.
Yeah.
Other than that, and edge, which we've already kind of touched on, but we'll go into the free agents available there because I don't see them going after a draft edge. Running back. Myles Gaskin was great. Salvin Ahmed was good. Jesus, words. Ahmed. But they were like sporadically there. There was no consistency, and they could use a veteran running back.
Yeah, and I think Aaron Jones would be a great target. I've
written down.
He is really the guy that they need to do everything that they can to get over there. He would bring, again, the offense up to a whole different level. Having his versatility and abilities out of the backfield would be the best case scenario for them. And it would
super ideal.
Yeah, and it would allow that offense to live up to its full potential. Again, another situation where it really wouldn't matter all that much who's playing quarterback when you got talent like that around them. So I think that's needs to be the focus. Otherwise, I don't know. If you can't get Aaron Jones, I don't necessarily want to give up on Gaskin or Ahmed.
I don't think you give up on them either, but I think you get a veteran to, lead them.
Yeah. I mean, maybe Todd Gurley?
No. I forget that Todd Gurley is Has he been officially released yet?
I'm not sure, but
I know his
gonna be
name's floating.
He's going to be on the market.
Yeah, but no, don't go after weak knee Gurley. Go get Aaron Jones. Pay a little bit more. You'll be fine.
Yeah, no, I'm saying if you can't get Aaron Jones, maybe you look at someone like Todd Gurley. And
Okay, fair. It's better.
If you have a 3-back rotation there, someone will be healthy probably.
So let's move on then off of that because we have a time limit here. We don't, but we do.
Cruising.
The edge. Emmanuel Ogba's doing a great job, but he needs to have more consistency. I again could see them bringing in someone in free agency. I think Yannick Ngakoue would be stellar pairing with him.
I agree. I think that would make a really good home for him.
Whoa. Breaking news.
What?
Cowboys have a long-term deal in place with Dak Prescott. Details to come.
Okay, so Dak is going to be in Dallas for a while.
There's a quarterback off the market. Dak's locked in.
All right.
Let's see where this goes.
That's kind of what I figured would end up happening.
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone did. But sorry, I cut you off with that breaking news, but go ahead.
No, all good. I don't know what I'm saying.
All right.
After bouncing around a little bit, I think that he would really find a good home with a defense that's already kind of solid and being a building block in something that's so close to being a contender would be very appealing, I think. But yeah, that would really seal up the other side of the line as well. So
that just gets me excited as Yannick Ngakoue and a Brian Flores defense.
That would be fun. He loves that on the side linebacker.
Let's keep it chugging, though. Let's go on to Vegas, right?
Oh, boy.
Yeah, we got a lot to dig into here. And they're in the opposite position of the first two teams. They are sitting with the 17th overall pick, and they have 3.2 in cap. Whoa.
Oh.
My God. So with that, right, they're losing Nelson Aguilar. Vic Beasley was a meh addition in the middle of the season, actually, right? He was one of the team. He was the final destination before. Yeah. So they need a defensive line. They need a safety. They need a wide receiver. We'll get into that with Aguilar and all that, and a replacement quarterback for the future. Because no, we'll talk about that when we get there. But let's talk about the defensive line first. I think defense is where they need the most help. Because Max Crosby's been a fucking stud.
Yes. 100%.
Ceylon Farrell, fine.
Yeah.
He's been good. He hasn't lived up to the first round.
The secondary, honestly, needs the most help, I think. I think Jonathan Abrams is kind of like a mini Jamal Adams. I think he's a little more run focused.
100%.
He's not. His coverage skills aren't up to par at the moment. I mean, what's his face cornerback that they drafted last year through first round?
I honestly am blanking on his name. It was a stretch too.
Damn it. Well, that sucks. Well, he's been very inconsistent. He wasn't. I don't know what they thought they were going to get drafting him where they did, but it is what it is. He'll be workable eventually. But yeah, I think that secondary really needs to be shored up. The line has been decent. The linebackers need also work, but so yeah, you're right. That whole defense really needs an upgrade for sure. I think safety would be the place to start for them. I think they need someone leading that back third of the field.
Okay, let's go there then. So I actually love that Abrams and Adams comparison. That is accurate as hell. Yeah. Both guys will take your head off, but like pass coverage wise, it's fine, right?
Right. They're okay sometimes, but it's a spot you can exploit if they do find themselves backed up in coverage.
So, like we've said, they need someone in pass coverage. They need someone deep. They need someone to take away that last deep part of the field because they were repeatedly burnt there. Let me introduce you to someone I've seen a lot of fans talking about on the Raiders side, but a potential second round talent named Richie Grant out of UCF. He is extremely athletic. Dude's fast as hell. and he's got strong hands. So he'll step up and tackle, but mostly what you get him for is breaking up things in the deep part of the field.
Yeah, and that's what they need. They need someone that can, limit those back-breaking plays that always happened at the worst times for the Ravens the last couple of years.
Oh my God, absolutely.
Just some horrendous ways to lose football games. But yeah, I think that going out and getting someone like Grant would definitely go a long way to making sure this is a solid defense moving forward.
I highly agree. I think that's such a good fit. I just being able to lock it down is what you need. They, like you said, they were getting burnt late, like almost flat-footed, tired by their defensive backs.
Mm-hmm.
So having someone that can keep that like longevity and obviously younger is looking at the free agents. There wasn't anyone that jumped off the page as like they should be going after him. And they also don't have the ability to because they have 3.2 million in cap.
Right. Yeah. Not a whole lot of wiggle room right now. So just do it through the draft. There's talent available. They can absolutely make it work. John Gruden's a defensive-minded guy. He'll be fine.
So speaking of the draft, let's talk about the wide receiver situation, right?
Yep.
Because once again, free agency kind of out the window for them.
Mm-hmm.
Aguilar's leaving. He actually kind of revitalized. Words are hard today. His career a little bit. Had a nice spark last year. Had a couple big plays. Some fantasy owners loved him at the 3-quarter mark. But Ruggs is not your true wide receiver one. Oh my God. And Brian Edwards still has had injury concerns. He barely touched the field last year.
Yeah. I think wide receiver is going to be a big issue for them this year. They're going to have to retool big time in that department because, like you said, Ruggs to me is a utility guy. He's not a wide receiver 1 or 2 in my book. Man, they are screwed. They need to go out and get a big name, or else Derek Carr is going to have the worst year of his career. It's going to be ugly.
And I don't really see them. I see them kind of going for Gregory Rousseau with that 17th pick. I don't see them. There's no receiver there that I think would be a good fit for them, honestly.
I agree. I think that you almost have to look to free agency to bring in a receiver. I mean, you talk about the same guys that we've talked to death. And you can't. I'd like to include Marvin Jones in that because I could see him in that system for sure. But it's not worth bringing in a wide receiver 2 if you don't have a wide receiver 1. So I think you almost have to include them in the conversations for Galladay or Robinson if somehow he becomes available.
I don't see them getting Robinson.
They don't have the
They'd
money.
have to move a lot.
Yeah, I don't know. Galladay.
Capital-wise is not there. But we'll talk about another kind of gleaming issue for them, and that's quarterback, because Derek Carr's been fine.
Yeah,
right?
100%. I've always liked Derek Carr. I think he gets way too much shit.
He's a good quarterback, but you do need to start planning for the future.
Of course, yeah. No, he's not going to be the answer 5 years from now, but
that's not what I thought Dak Prescott would get paid. We now have the number for, speaking of quarterbacks, what Dak Prescott's getting paid. It's a 4-year, 160.
All that for that?
He settled for that.
All that for that. All right. Well,
okay. Well, sure. All right. Whatever. I guess 4 years.
I mean, the broken leg doesn't help, but
that's not a lot of money. Dak, you got fucked. Your agent sucks. Back to Derek Carr.
Wow.
I know. I'm trying to wrap my head back around this. But back to Derek Carr. Marcus Mariota stepped in for a game, did a great job, but he's most likely gone this offseason. Can't count on either of them.
Right.
And Carr's inconsistencies are starting to become very apparent and are very clearly bothering the front office through whispers and rumors that we get from Rappaport tweets and fucking Shefties. So what they're going to do, in my mind, and in mock drafts I've read because I don't follow the Raiders enough, there's a kid, Davis Mills, out of Stanford, who is going to be probably like a 6th, 7th, maybe undrafted free agent. He was injured a lot, but has a high ceiling, a lot of potential. They're not going to spend a ton of capital on like a guy in the first 3 rounds. I could see them just getting this kid, seeing if he works out and pans out. But this is not the draft for them to get a quarterback. They don't have the money for free agency, and I wouldn't give up on Derek Carr, honestly, this early either.
No, not while there's still a bit of a window there. I mean, they missed the playoffs by a game or two. They still have the potential to compete in this league.
Mm-hmm.
So Derek Carr is perfectly fine for the next year or two.
Right.
In that time frame that you have to go out and figure out what you're going to do afterwards. And at the same time, try and give Derek Carr some semblance of a competent receiving core, which he's never really fully had in his time in Las Vegas / Oakland.
No, he's had glimpses, but it never holds up.
He's had some good names. Amari Cooper was not the same when he was there as he is with the Cowboys now. Michael Crabtree was probably his most reliable receiver that he's ever had over there. But yeah, you've never given him a legitimate, complete cast to work with. Josh Jacobs is great, but he's been hurt a lot. And Darren Waller really is your overall best offensive player, of course. So
yeah, that's not even a question.
Just got to ride him out, but got to get some supporting cast around those guys. And in the position that they're in, it's going to be very hard to do.
It's going to be very hard to do, and not even to mention the fact that they're in a very tough division now in the NFL. Dude, I mean, Denver has been a big question mark. We'll talk about them later, but the Chiefs are the fucking Chiefs. They're top tier. They're echelon 1. And then
Justin
Chargers
are not going to be pushovers that they have been the last couple of years.
No.
And I think the Broncos are going to take a decent step forward next year as long as they can figure a couple key issues out. So it's going to be very tough.
Oof, I'm so excited to talk about the Broncos. But that's not our time yet. We're going to move on to our last team, Drew. A team that's in a decent position. They have a lot of defensive needs, Drew. Arizona. They have the 16th overall pick. They have 12.5 in cap. And with all their defensive needs, they went out and got J.J. Watt.
Yeah, you know what's not one of the defensive needs? Defensive end. They got that shit on lock.
I mean, cool. You have him and Chandler Jones, but that doesn't make you a playoff contender.
No, and we've talked about how little sense this makes to us for both parties, really.
Yeah.
I don't understand why JJ Watt would want to go there, and I don't understand why on earth Arizona would want to pay that kind of money to bring him one piece that they didn't really even need. I think that money could have been spent much better elsewhere. You're going to have to replace Patrick Peterson. You're going to have to, I mean, like that right there. That one issue to me is enough reason to not bring JJ Watt in, is that you have to replace your number one cornerback from the past 10 years.
So I have it listed here, but not deadline for, oh man, Larry Fitzgerald has not committed to if he's going to retire or not.
I think that's less of a concern now with what happened last year and his definite downtick in production.
Yeah.
It's going to suck just because Larry Fitzgerald is a phenomenal human being and a great presence to have around. I'm sure the team can probably find a way to keep him around in some capacity. If not,
they should.
They absolutely should. That losing that personality would be detrimental to that team.
So with that, we're talking about their departure with Fitzgerald, who's a question mark, and Kenyon Drake, who is apparently out the door. How do you feel about that?
I don't think that's a huge deal. I think Kenyon Drake's been a little bit overrated over the last 2 years.
Yeah.
The half of a breakout season he had in Arizona. Last year he was inconsistent and hurt and sometimes just straight up bad.
Dude just couldn't get in the end zone.
Oh my God. How many times did I sit there banging my head against the wall because I was playing someone that had Kenyon Drake and it was like, stop giving him the fucking ball. It took him 4 tries to get in the end zone last time. Stop.
No. Stop it.
Why do you have faith in him? Stop it.
He's a fucking schmuck.
I agree. So I don't think that that's an issue. Let him walk. Get him out of there. Mm-hmm. It's fine. I think Chase Edmonds is a much better option.
I highly agree.
I think that they are going to need more of a work horse back. That one, that's the word. Workhorse back at some point, but with their kind of high flying on the run offense with Kyler, and I think Chase Edmonds slots perfectly right into that offense. So their offense is good. They could use another receiver probably to just round out that core with D Hop and Christian Kirk, and I think one more guy, maybe a Marvin Jones. Ooh, I like that spot for Marvin Jones.
I didn't think about that. I actually have it listed that not a lot of free agents would fit that, but Marvin Jones in Arizona.
I didn't even think about that until right now. I think that would be dangerous. Ooh, no, there's no better fit. You can't convince me that there's a better fit available.
You're locked in now?
I am all aboard the Marvin Jones to Arizona train. Yeah, the offensive line needs a little bit of help. Could use some tight end play of any variety, really, because it doesn't exist down there right now.
No, dude. Who's the fucking tight end they have? I like
Darnell Daniels.
No.
Oh, Dan Arnold.
Dan Arnold, dude. Dan Arnold was fine in the end zone. That's purely from a fantasy perspective that I love Dan Arnold.
No, he was a good red zone threat. I think he had a couple drops here and there. Little inconsistent. But if he can take a step up, or they can go and, find a cheap second tight end, whatever, they could use that extra middle of the field coverage on offense. Stretch them out down the middle. But
I'd hope.
They're in a good spot, man. They really are. Just a piece here and there, and they'll be good. Unfortunately, they've kind of shot themselves in the foot by giving J.J. Watt so much money. Now they can't necessarily afford the caliber of piece here and there that they might have been able to before that would have made a bigger difference.
And they're really going to have to bank on drafting, which has not been their strong suit. They've actually been one of the statistically worst teams in drafting.
Josh Rosen. I
had so much faith in Josh Rosen.
I did not ever.
So besides the complementary pieces they could use at running back, I think like getting a committee might be a cool thing, but I think Chase Edmonds is your RB1. Yeah. Javonte Williams in the second round would be sick. I doubt he's going to fall that far. I think he's going to sneak to the first. I said Jarrett Patterson in one of our diamond drafts. I think he would be awesome, but that's still a maybe. Wide receiver, once again, complimentary piece, be cool. But like Nuke and Kirk, you got a good piece. And Marvin Jones, now that you've said that, is like kind of locked into my brain. So fuck all these other things I've written down here. But Patrick Peterson, I think this is finally the year he's gone.
I agree. I think that they should be banking on him not playing for the Cardinals.
So I'm going to say that's where they use that 16th pick in a name we've floated around this time. I think J.C. Horn out of South Carolina could be the name to replace him, because you need strong cornerbacks. You have BOTA, but like as a defensive back, but like what else?
Right. No, 100%. I think that's absolutely their biggest need. I think that that's really the only way to go with that 16th pick is straight for probably J.C. Horn. I don't know who else is going to be there at that time, really, that would be worth spending that kind of capital on.
Sorry, go ahead. Keep going.
I was just going to say, I think that that's really the only thing that makes sense for them to do, the only route that is feasible right now, because that's the biggest area that needs improvement. And you've already clearly said that, hey, we're invested in our defense and making moves to get where we need to go now. That's the move that needs to be made to get anywhere near what they're trying to do. So
the other name I would have listed, and I think this would be an awful move, not because he's a bad player, because I don't understand it in their system. It's the same old mindset of drafting someone that's at a good position, not like what you need necessarily, because their pass rush is fine. Their run defense was fine. It was both top 10 when I was looking at it, but they could end up feasibly getting Christian Barmore out of Bama, who we talked about with the Ravens.
Yeah.
He's a strong athlete, would lock up the middle. He's a tackle. So
that would be a scary prospect with him and Isaiah Simmons roaming around in the middle of that defense.
Maybe, but I don't know. I don't see it. I really think they end up going with J.C. Horn. I don't see any way he doesn't end up in the desert.
I think that's, like I said, the clear cut way to go if you're the Cardinals.
All right, so that was our roundup for the teams. We're gonna get into trade rumors. That this whole show has gotten derailed already. We're trying to keep it together, but with fucking Dak Prescott interfering there. New news before we get into the trade rumors: the Jets have just tagged Marcus May.
Okay.
Fine. I don't really understand that one if I'm going to be too super honest. That's whatever. But
yeah.
No, go ahead, Drew.
Quite literally. Okay.
It's not.
Nah.
Nah. I think a lot of Jets fans saw it coming, but I don't agree with it. But actually, I'm gonna pocket that and I'm gonna use that as a post. I'm gonna edit this out. Fuck you. Not you, Drew, the camera.
Oh, I can tell when you're talking to the camera when you're talking to me.
So let's talk about these trade rumors surrounding David Njoku, Stephon Gilmore.
Yep.
Njoku is 24. He's always been kind of like questionable hands, but everyone thinks he has the potential to go to the next level. His value right now, super low because of how the Browns have built their tight end room with Austin Hooper and Harrison Bryant, both strong tight ends. They could feasibly just get rid of David Njoku and call it a day.
Mm-hmm.
Where could you see David Njoku end up?
New England.
I'm glad you said that because that's kind of the trade I like feasibly see happening is them swapping for each other. Like New England sending over Stephon Gilmore, which I'm still kind of indifferent about. I think I would like it, but I don't know.
I think that New England's going to try and get more out of Stephon Gilmore.
Oh, they're definitely going to try to get a pick with David Njoku because their round 3 was, I think, the price tag they put on him before the trade deadline this season.
For Stephon Gilmore?
No, for David Njoku. I think Stephon Gilmore, they want at least a first.
Yeah, and I mean, dude was defensive player of the year 2 years ago.
They're gonna want that first round pick.
Yeah, they're gonna want David Njoku and at least a second round pick or something. I don't know that I see that them being part of the same trade necessarily. I think they may be separate trades. I think the Patriots may bring in some assets with Njoku and then maybe try and package some stuff up and ship Gilmore off for a fat return.
Big brain. What if they try to package David Njoku and Case Keenum, and then Case Keenum ends up as the quarterback for New England? Because I would love that.
Oh my God, that would be so funny. I mean, I like Case Keenum. I mean, he's done some good stuff. Again, you just run into that issue with New England that there's no weapons. There's nothing there to come into. That system is shattered and destroyed and just a steaming pile of rubble.
They're on the full burn down. They need a lot this offseason.
Yeah, they're fucked.
They're brutal. But I mean, obviously their plans involve Jimmy Garoppolo, so we'll see if that ends up panning out.
It's gonna be too expensive, man.
Way too expensive. Way too much capital. Check out my video for my full thoughts.
Second round pick and then give up 2 first round picks for them.
That's not a good trade. That's bad stonks.
That's anti-stonks.
All right, Drew, you want to close us out today?
No, go ahead, James.
God damn it. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us today. You know where I totally forgot how to do the closing. You know where to find us. If you already are listening, you did it. Congratulations. But otherwise, Spotify, Apple Music, Anchor, Google Podcast, we're everywhere. We're with you. You can find us on YouTube. I've been working more to put YouTube videos out. Put one out actually today, Monday. I forgot what day it is. Today. What day? Today. Today. Not yesterday. Today. Not tomorrow.
Today.
Today. It is up. It's live. It is fucking pulsing. I can't wrap my head around this Dak Prescott news. It's throwing me through a loop. Follow us everywhere at BOTA Sports. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Drew is a fucking wavy arm man. He's a stud. He's wearing his BOTA jersey. I'm James. I got nothing else for y'all. Stay beautiful.